It's Monday. It's 12:30. It's Fish. The voice of the Hoosiers. Don Fischer joining the Dan Dockett Show.
Oh, man. NBA power ratings are out. Golden State #1. Toronto Raptors #2. Pacers are 6. Don Fischer always #1 in our hearts. Hey, Fish, got a question for you. You ready?
Yep.
What'd you think of IU basketball the other day?
Well, I was pretty impressed with the defensive performance in the first half and the offensive performance in the second half. So I pretty much like what I saw. I think they're still a young basketball team in the sense that they've got a lot of new faces and they're still trying to figure things out. But from a total perspective, I thought that it was a really, really great performance in the sense of what they were able to do in that game.
You know what I liked about it? I liked they didn't get off to a great start. And then all of a sudden they kicked up the defense, and that seemed real to me. Like Justin Smith and Romeo looked like real defenders that could get out. Now, my guess is Archie's saying, they got work to do and all that stuff, and I get that. But they look like real guys on the defensive end that could disrupt.
Yeah, there's no question. Doc, I think that's where they're going to hang their hat all year long. I think that's where this team's strength is on defense. And I say that because they are such a long team. Physically,
right.
They're tall, they're long, that kind of thing. And they've got great athleticism and quickness. So, I mean, that's always a tremendous attribute for good defensive play. And then on top of that, that puts another demands out of his players that they've got to play defense. They want to be on the floor. And because of those things, I think this is going to be a really fun season. I don't know how good they're going to be offensively, Doc. I mean, teams are going to find ways to shut down guys going to the rim and that kind of thing. Then they're going to have to shoot it from outside. I think that's the big question mark with this team, even though they did have 8 3-pointers in the second half of that ball game.
It's interesting to me. I was talking to Andrew. He's at Ohio State, and we were talking about the exact same thing with them. Man, we can really get to the rim. I said, all right, but that's, that you can defend that. Who can shoot? And I know Romeo's a good shooter. I think Green will be a good shooter. The Fitzner kid. But is there a knock it out, dead-ass shooter on that team?
Well, if you watch Demezy Anderson in that second half, I guess you could say he might be one of those guys, but I don't know how far behind in other areas he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, let's face it, James Barkley could shoot the basketball, but defense was a real problem for him, and so I don't know if that's the same scenario with Demezy or not. I do know this about Demezy. He's about 6'6", and he's really strong physically. But I think he's maybe a little behind some of the other guys in some of the other areas from a basketball standpoint. But I know he can knock it down. He did that in high school, and he didn't surprise anybody when he did it in the second half of that game the other night.
Fish, are you in a tin can? Are you currently broadcasting from a burn barrel?
No, I'm in my car.
Oh, you are? I didn't know. It sounds like I just went and bought a burn barrel yesterday to burn leaves in, and I'm like, I think Fish is in my burn barrel. Get out of my burn barrel, Fish.
Let me get out of the car and see what sounds better, Doc. Let me just open the door. Does that sound any better?
That does. You jumped out of my burn barrel. Walk inside, get yourself a nice soda. There's some leaves in there. She'll make you something nice, some dinner, Fish.
Well, I know one thing, Doc. I wish I had a burn barrel too. I do it in the thing that we put. What do they call the thing? I'm spacing on the old
fire pit.
Fire pit. Yeah, I burn a lot of leaves in the fire pit, so I do that.
Fish, I'm clipping this. My wife went off on me because the ashes get in the fire pit and it makes it look bad. I'm like, what?
That's what a fire pit's supposed to look like.
That's what I said.
Come on, Lee.
Fish. And then I had 2 clowns at my house, one of which was her ex-husband and one was her brother, and they agreed with her. I'm like,
they live in a different world than you and I, Don.
Fish, if it's burning, put the leaves in it. I don't care what. Hey, look, if the house next to me got on fire, I'd put the leaves in it.
I agree.
Right? I'm just burning stuff.
Doc, it's just something else that you and I agree on.
Yes. One thing I like is don't complicate it. If there's a flame, I got leaves. Let's go. Let's have, Do you have a lot of leaves?
Yeah, we've got more than our share these days. My trees have all grown up. We've lived there for 20-plus years now. And, all those trees have grown up, and we got plenty of leaves to. Although, I will say this, Doc, the neighbors, one of our trees is real close between our houses, and it's like maybe 3 or 4 feet into my part of the yard. It's our tree because we planted it, but I think their kids came out the other day along with the parents, and they were raking the leaves up from around their house from my tree.
Yeah.
And I think they picked up a whole bunch of them. I don't know why they did that, but I was really happy about it.
Yeah. Fish, my Lee's ex-husband was in my garage. He goes, "That's the biggest leaf blower I've ever seen." I go, "You're damn right. I ain't bending down. I don't care. Supersize me, Fish." Fish.
I did. That's the first time I've ever used a blower to at least make a pile, and it actually worked pretty good, so I may do it again.
Yes.
I'm operate it by hand.
Oh, Fish. It's like, it really, there are a few things that are life-changing, and that's absolutely one of them. I mean, it is. A leaf blower is, my friends told me, they go, "Look, get a leaf blower, trust me." Like, nah, I'll do it by hand. No. Hey, Fish, if we can't beat Maryland, given all that Maryland's going through, we don't deserve to go to a bowl.
That's true, Doc. This
right?
is a football team. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's true. I mean, this is a football team that was in chaos last week and has been, I will say this, Matt Canada, who I know, and just a great guy and really good football coach, has taken over and done a tremendous job with what he's had to deal with this year. But last week was a disaster for him because of the Durkin thing and firing putting him back in there and then firing him the next day and all the chaos that program went through. And they looked like they were a program in chaos last week, no question about it, against Michigan State. But I will say this, I think they'll probably jump back into high gear this week because they are still playing for a bowl game. They're just one game away from winning it, or getting to a bowl, I should say. And if they would win, it would take a lot of pressure off of Ohio State and Penn State teams that they got to face in their last 2 games of the year to become bowl eligible if Indiana beats them. So I think this is their best chance, and I think you'll see both of these teams feeling like they have to win this football game.
Well, I agree with that. I do. I agree with both of those. Like both teams, and Matt Canada. Obviously I was at Indiana and there was some rocky stuff, but man, in and you're out and it's incredible all that has happened. I'm not, you don't have to comment on this, Fish, but I'm not sure the return on Rutgers and Maryland so far. I don't know, Fish.
No, I understand.
I don't know.
I mean, after Indiana got beat by Minnesota last week, that it was just a hugely disappointing loss because they literally should have won that game by more than they lost by a touchdown, but made a 22-point run in the fourth quarter just to tie the ball game. And that said, you still should have been up maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns at that point, and they weren't. And then they end up getting beat on a bad defensive play at the end. So it's a football team that maybe perhaps this week was really good to have a bye week or this past week and get some of these freshmen and some of the younger guys in this football team some freshness to them because I think it's been a long season up to this point. There's been some disappointment, and right now you don't want that to overtake you and give you kind of a negative going into these final 3 games of the year.
That is so true. That if I were coaching football, that's the one thing I would do. I would really, really study how to handle the bye week. I would, because that seems to me to be a chance in the middle of everything to regroup and end things out, on a pretty high note. But we'll see. All right, Fish, we are going with the Pacers, and then at 10:30 tonight, Inside Indiana Basketball is going to be delayed. But you guys are going at 7:05, right? Right from downtown?
Yeah, we are going at 7:05 from the Holiday Inn down here in Bloomington. And it'd be interesting to hear what Coach Mo's got to say, because I know he wasn't real pleased with the defensive effort the second half the other night. I know he knows he's got a young team and all that kind of stuff, but you know how you coaches are.
Oh, God. No, you're not. Even when you're unhappy, you're just looking for something. You know what I mean? You're just looking for some crap to throw at the wall. Wednesday, though, Inside IU football, so you're a busy man, Fish.
Well, this is a busy week. It's where football and basketball intertwined together for the next month, and so it's going to be a busy month, to say the least, Doc. But you know what? we old guys, we persevere.
Oh, what are we going to do? You know what, Fish? That's why you're making $2 million a year. That's why you're the highest paid man around here. What the hell? You got to work 3 days. It's all good, Fish.
I'll rake your leaves for you, Doc, because I know, daggone good well, you're higher paid than I am.
Hey, I'm trying to. I told Lee, I go, I'm doing this. And about an hour in, I'm like, hey, can you call somebody? Can you call? Thanks, my friend. I'll talk to you.
All right, Doc. See ya.
Fish. That's a great Don Fischer, 4 Winds, Lakeside Inn and Marina Hotline. Tonight, 5:30, Colts Roundtable live. 6:30, it starts the coverage. Pacers and Rockets. Our friend Tyler Trent is going to be sitting in with the Hall of Famer Slick Leonard and the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Mark Boylan at 10:30 on 107.5 and 1070 The Fan. It's Inside IU Football. So, a lot going on today, a lot going on in this show. It is Kyle Knezovich's last day as he is moving up to be a suit. Oh, jeez. We're also asking, what's the point of IU football? Seriously, what's the point? We got a couple guys that want to talk about it. I'll talk about it with you, too. All right, we will be back. 317-239-1070. What did you think about the NFL yesterday? I liked watching 2 great quarterbacks.
There's something about the word diagnosis that tends to make us uneasy, whether it's